to the camera. If you vasoconstrict the efferent arteriole, what happens to the hydrostatic pressure? Do you like that?
There'll be less leaving.
There'll be less, you say less leaving right here? Okay, you're doing that, yeah. So on this other end here, yes, not as much blood. What's happening over here? Because the hydrostatic pressure, I'm looking at right.
Fire.
What's happening? Yes, you see, it's just visualizing. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, you're backing in the situation up. You increase. So it's an opposite scenario versus afferent arterial versus efferent as far as what could happen to hydrostatic pressure. You see what I mean? That's all. Okay, so that's very important. That feature of understanding that helps you see that if there's a systemic phenomenon going on, you might not change the actual hydrostatic pressure so much. If it's a systemic scenario, right? That means both afferent and efferent both vasoconstrict, right? Versus if just one does it, now we're in a different ballgame. Right? That changes everything. You have a question?
Yeah, what happens if the vasodilate?
Yeah, let's do it. And let's do, you do it, Francesca. I'm going to vasodilate my afferent arteriole. You did that on Interstate 95. Is there congestion? No. So what? Can a lot of people get off at that rate? Yeah. So what's going to happen here with the hydrostatic pressure? There you go. That's right. And so there will be local factors that influence that. There will be local factors that influence that. And go ahead. You have a question?
So for it to flow right to get the filtrate to Bowman's capsule, it's going to vasodilate.
Say it again. I'm sorry. Say it again.
So in order for it to have the filtrate, like the bucket,
In the bucket, yeah.
it's
Bowman's capsule.
Yeah, it's going to vasodilate, right?
Well, let's just say this. There's this normal level that it is always. This normal diameter that it is, right? But let's say that you increase it even more. That's what I mean. But when you say vasodilate, it's dilating it more than what it is. And so if you do so, then you've increased the hydrostatic even more. You see? Just, we always go from a baseline, right? And then from there, we say out of vasodilation, vasoconstriction. So that's all we're doing. We see, and it just makes sense when you visualize it, what's happening with what. And I want to add that term. Very important term. Very important term. First term, what you just added up basically. When you were judging hydrostatic pressure versus your osmotic pressure, we add it all up and see hydrostatic is more. That's what we call the net filtration pressure. Make sure you make note, right? When we see that your hydrostatic is more than your osmotic, or it could be vice versa, right? You want your hydrostatic higher than your osmotic though, right here, right? Which is typically the case with normal blood pressure. That's what we call the what? Net filtration pressure. Okay. And that is what's creating what? Definitely that's a part of what creates the filtrate. Yeah? There you go. All right. Okay, now he's not the only guy involved with creating filtrate. Another thing that's involved with creating filtrate is this guy here called the surface area. What's it called? Surface area. Yeah. What is that? The amount of actual capillary exposed. If you have the amount exposed of capillary, boom. That what if you increase the amount of capillary? That's more what? Filtrate. You see? You decrease the amount of what? Capillary exposed. You less filtrate. You see? So that you can change filtrate based on what? The surface area. The surface area of your capillary. And that's why really this glomerulus, that's another thing that distinguishes these capillaries from your tissue capillaries, other tissue capillaries, because they have a larger what? Surface area. They have a larger surface area. Because that whole job is to create filtrate. So that makes sense. Another thing is permeability. Right? Chelsea, what's permeability? What makes up capillaries? Say again. That what allows to go through. I mean, she jumped and said membrane. You're not wrong. I want to go back a step. I want to say, what is the membrane? And the membrane is the one part of it is the actual capillary wall. What's the wall, the capillary wall made out of? Yes. Endothelial cells. Remember, those are epithelial cells right next to each other in one layer, right? And what do they have between them? No, we remember that? Little what? Little spaces. What are those spaces called? Fenestrations. But the fenestrations for your actual what? Glomerulus capillary, they're much wider. If that's the case, Chelsea, then what? More things can what? Get through. Is that okay? So that means now, yes, that will change how much filtrate you get. Yeah, if you change that what? Permeability, if I increase the permeability, that's what? Permitting more things, then I'm getting more filtrate. I decrease that permeability. What happens? Less filtrate. See, though? So those are things that create the filtrate, factors influencing that. Big thing is the net filtration pressure, because the hydrostatic is pushing it in there. But your surface area of your capillaries and the permeability, that changes. Okay, now what we're getting to then, when we're talking about filtrate being created, there's a physician who's specifically checking on kidney, right? Who knows what his name is? Yeah, see, means nephro indicates what? Kidney. So the one that studies it is a nephrologist. Okay. The main, biggest thing he looks at before he checks other specific things is what they call the glomerular filtration rate. Okay, so what he's doing is checking the amount of filtrate. That's all it is. It's the amount of filtrate created in 1 minute. See, we've been talking about it already. But now we give it a name. What do we call it? Glomerular filtration what? Rate. Okay? And so, yes, all of those things that I just named are regulating the what? Glomerular filtration rate. It is short for what? Who knows this? What do we say when we're just in the wards? We say, what's the patient's what? GFR. Oh, goodness. Very, 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 very important. Very important. Typically, a 75 kilogram individual in weight, because it's based on weight here, is about what the average is 125 millimeters per minute. Okay. Yeah, so typically 125 what? mLs per what? Well, I said it's the amount of filtrate created in what? 1 minute. Okay. So that's on average. That's on average. Okay. But you see what influences it. You know, you visualize it now. You see what controls how much filtrate ends up in the cup. Yeah, that's it. GFR. And that lets me know. What is GFR telling us then? The whole story, right? About, well, as far as what things are coming. Let's do that and let's have fun with it, right? Because I'm going to give you an assignment this afternoon. And you got to answer these questions related to it. It's actually fun because it's just, you already know it now. And let's do this. I usually give the example of a assembly line. You see what I mean? Let's say that, you know, you and I work at the assembly line, right? And the assembly, you know, like in the factory. And so basically our job is to actually pick up a product and bag it. Yeah. All right. So don't forget, they're on a belt, though, right? And you know it's rolling, right? Okay, there we go. And I'm just say the speed of the belt is the GFR. Let's say that, right? So here we are, just you and I, though. It's just you and I. That's the limit. That's equivalent to, you know, what can pick up glucose, what can pick up amino acids, what can pick up water. You see, yeah, we're the receptors, if you will, and I'll get to that in a second. Right? We're the receptors. It's only us, so the limited amount of us. So, you know, let's look at this belt and see what's going on. Okay. What we're doing is bagging stuff. So that's the stuff that's going to stay in the body. You okay? You ready? All right, so here's GFR. The belt is going at that rate, right? And now we're picking up stuff, right? Let's say we slow the belt down. Can you pick up less stuff or more? There you go. I got more stuff in the bag. That means I kept more stuff in my what? Body. I kept more amino acids. I have more glucose. I have more sodium. I have, you see that? The GFR belt determines how much I get. You see that? Let's go the other way now. Let's speed up the belt. Now we're working crazy. We're like, wait a minute. We always telling the guy, oh, slow it down, right? Because what's our problem? Are we picking up all the ones we want? Some amino acids are what? Getting biased, right? Some glucose is getting biased, right? Are we picking up everything we want? So if your GFR is increased, are you picking up enough glucose? Are you picking up enough water? No. You see that? So GFR matters. Your nephrologist wants to see what your GFR is because he wants to know if you're picking up everything or if you're picking up too much. You see that? GFR determines what's getting picked up. All right, so just visualize that assembly. You see what I'm saying, Megan? Yeah. Very good. That's huge. All right, so now let's say that your GFR is what? Let's do it again, Jeff. Your GFR is actually low. Your GFR is low. Let me give you 3 seconds here. 1, just think of that. GFR low. Think of the assembly belt. 1, 2, 3. What's your blood volume looking at?
The blood volume?
Yeah. I kind of skipped a step because I wanted you to see what's happening with water. Your GFR is low. Did you pick up less water? You picked up what? The same amount of water? More? So what is water related to blood volume? Very good. Very good. Very good. See that? Now your nephrologist says, oh, that's the reason why they have increased what? Blood pressure. You see? Okay. All right, so you don't want GFR to be what? Too what? Low. Right? You don't want it to be too what? High. Is that right? Okay. It's too high. If it's too high, can I give you that? GFR too high? If the GFR is too high, what's the glucose level in the blood? You see how I skipped? I wanted to. It's too. You said it's what? Very good. This guy, future nephrology. That was too quick. Very good, sir. Yes, they do that. So now they say, oh, that's why when I pulled the blood, glucose was a little bit too what? Low. Yeah, GFR. Check the GFR. And I'm checking kidney function, right? But then I go further, I look at the electrolytes. I look at those sodium, potassium, glucose. Yes. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. So basically, yes. Let me apply it to our nephron now. Is that okay? Very good. I'm going to apply it to my nephron. You ready for this? No. You sure? You ready? Can I give it to you? Yeah. Let's do it. All right, here we are. You see this guy right here is the Bowman's capsule. And then he collects all the filtrate. And as you go to this guy, which is the proximal convoluted tubule, water is being reabsorbed. That's what it's called. See that term? What's it called? Reabsorbed. What does absorbed mean? Next week I'll touch on that with digestive system. That's when it gets into your body. You ate sugar, and what did it do? It went into your body. That's called absorbed. So it was already in your body because it's in the blood, right? That arterial has things that was already what? Absorbed. But now it went out of your body because it went into the Bowman's capsule. And what has to happen? It has to go back into your body. What's that called? Reabsorbed. Oh, there you go.